Hello, everyone. Welcome to another special episode of the Financial Insight Show. Financial Insight Show, our media partners this year at Novacom 2024 at Diani Beech in Kenya. And with me is none other than Danny Kwach, who is from African Data Centers. Danny, how are you doing?
I'm good. And it's a pleasure really joining this whole, group of very good peers and industry captains, as we talk about the future of technology and what exactly we are doing that makes us tick.
Absolutely. And for our viewers back in Zambia and obviously across Africa that are going to be watching this, tell us a little bit about, the company that you represent. And by the way, is this your first or second Novacom?
The very first Novacom, but I will say I've had the opportunity of attending or participating in similar events before. So really quite a privilege to really have been invited so that I can have an experience of what Novacom is all about. But I will say so far so good. The experience, the faces that I've been able to meet, it's been beyond my expectations. And probably you might ask why. I think for me, it's just because for the very first time, we are also meeting some of the industry captains or executives who really, their greatest desire or interest is to get to know, why should I come and offer my services in Africa? What's so good in Africa for this emerging technology? And what is the experience that you guys have had to make you guys be a leader in the space that you are in? You asked for the organization that I work for. So I'm the managing director for Africa Data Centers in East Africa. So as the name just rightfully suggests, Africa Data Centers has multiple data center facilities. We've got presence in South Africa, that's in Johannesburg and Cape Town. We've got data center facilities in Nigeria to serve our West African market. We've got data centers in East Africa as well, in Nairobi, where we have the flagship or the very first data center. And of course, now it's turned out to be the largest or the biggest. And at times, customers also want to know, when you say largest or biggest, what exactly do you mean? It's large because we host the highest number of financial institutions in East Africa. It's large because we host over 100 connectivity or communication service providers. It's again large because we have over 10 years of experience, and that really just speaks to the operational excellence that we've been able to achieve to make customers see us as that dependable and trusted partner when you're talking of mission critical services. And last but not least, we are talking about Africa being home to cloud, as opposed to Africa, pushing their data to clouds, outside of the continent. We want to bring Africa's data back home. We want to make sure that cloud footprints are also available in Africa. Then that's what Africa Data Centers is doing, making sure that, when you talk about cloud services in Africa, across the world, Africa also becomes a supplier to cloud services or cloud capacity across the world, so to speak.
Right, that's a very interesting, a description of the services. But obviously, some of our viewers would like to know what the journey has been like and how you found yourselves at cloud. And are you also able to tell us about, where your head office is actually centered? Because it sounds that you are now a Pan-African, technology company.
We're indeed a Pan-African technology company, and that has been, again, a result of a very illustrious, at times painful, but again, also successful journey or experience that we've had. So we've been able to have very good outcomes in terms of having started. I'll say in Kenya, we started our journey as a telecommunications company, probably 15 years.
And you have a telecoms background.
I have a telecoms background myself.
Right.
So we started off with a telecommunications company in East Africa. And that telecommunications company was primarily addressing something. There was a need for us to have competition in the market, because as it is elsewhere across Africa, a lot of the telecommunication service providers were government owned and run. And the organization that I work for broke monopoly in Zimbabwe. The same organization I work for broke monopoly in Kenya. And this is what we call Cassava Technologies Group today.
Right.
So Cassava Technologies is the former Econet Wireless, and rightfully, as everyone else can today relate, due to the need for digital transformation, reorganizing our businesses to meet customer needs, we've sort of made sure that while we were really strong on building telecommunications and technology infrastructure by way of a network and a data center, we are also remodeling our organization so that we've got services that can make use of this very infrastructure that we have by way of the network and the data center. That is how comes the infrastructure side, we've got telecommunications infrastructure, which is the network. We've got data centers, and we also have renewable energy solutions in the form of distributed power technologies. But on the shared service, on the services side, we then talk of cloud and cybersecurity. We then talk of a fintech solution. We then talk of anything that can sweat the assets that we already have. But that doesn't mean that the services that we are talking about are solely what is making use of our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is largely used by customers who, of course, are offering the same kind of services that we are talking about: the cloud and cybersecurity, fintech solutions, connectivity services. So that is how we have today taken leadership, I would say, not just in East Africa, but in Africa, because on the network side, we talk of over 100,000 kilometers of fiber. We've achieved or realized the dream of having Cape to Cairo connectivity. And we've also achieved the need for us to have not data centers, but centers of data across the continent. And these centers of data are what we talk of as data centers, of course, but that's how comes we are having data repositories or centers where data is stored, processed, and transmitted in South Africa, in Kenya, in West Africa as well. And we also want to make sure that we've got presence in Northern Africa. So that's going to be a market that is of great focus, again, for cassava technologies. And Africa data centers will also be, following what Liquid has already done by extending the network service into Northern Africa. Africa Data Centers is also exploring the same. So yes, while that has been the outcome of the very good vision that our leadership team had, I think for me, what has really made us achieve that great milestone is the fact that the leadership team has also made sure that they understand the African market, and they need to make sure that we are adapting our products to meet the customers in all these markets. If we are in South Africa, we want to listen to those customers and see what exactly we can do. In East Africa, that's what we do. And in West Africa, so wherever we go, we try the much we can, so that beyond what we know, we also want to listen to our customers and want to make sure that we can translate the technology that we have a very good understanding of into a product or into a solution that meets their requirements.
Absolutely. Now, this has been a very, very interesting journey that you've actually had. Now, one would imagine that, the capital investment has obviously been quite substantial. Tell us about earlier years in terms of capital raising for some of the ambitious projects that you had, and to what capital raising looks like in 2024.
When we talk capital, at times, and for a very good reason, I always want to avoid the actual numbers, and that is for a very good reason on my part. Mm-hmm. And that reason being that it's not really about the amount of capital that you actually need. But what is most important is having a vision and a purpose that you believe in. So as Africa Data Centers, as Cassava Technologies, we've got a vision and a purpose to build an infrastructure that is going to make sure that no African is left behind.
Right.
Beyond building infrastructure, be it tangible, like the roads or the rails were built in Africa. If at all you don't ask yourself, what do we need to do so that we can make the most of that infrastructure, then it's really in vain. This is the same concept that we believe in as Cassava Technologies, as Africa Data Centers. When we are building these data center facilities, when we are building this network infrastructure that we have, what exactly are we addressing? And we have a strong belief that we are addressing a need that, for one, we believe in. And this is a need to, this is the desire to make sure that we are bridging or, closing that digital divide. We do not want to have a situation where, as those that have had the insights on what technology can actually bring to the market, the advantage that those that have access to technological solutions have against those that do not have. We have been through those kinds of challenges ourselves. And so we have taken it upon ourselves to, as opposed to, putting down what this divide is all about and how painful those that are not able to access technology are suffering. And we have come up with a solution or with an agenda that, guess what, we have to resolve this. So by way of us resolving this, of course, the outcome has then been that we can actually get some sort of economic benefits out of it. By building a data center in Africa, we end up creating jobs. The investments that we put in terms of building these data center facilities, we end up giving opportunities to a lot of local companies in Africa to actually do what somebody else could have done. By making sure that we are building data centers and having cloud coming into Africa, we are creating jobs for the educated Africans who naturally have been looking out for jobs, and we want to address that unemployment challenge that we have in Africa. By way of us building these data centers and networks, just yesterday I was listening to our group CTIO being asked about connectivity to schools.
Right.
And I can tell you this. When we build a network that goes to connect a school, because we want to make sure that that school has access to internet connectivity, that school has access to, technology so that they can start interacting with technology from a very young age. While we are doing that, I can share with you that it's not just the impact of us transforming those communities by way of them accessing technology. We have a commercial benefit that also comes to us by way of when we are building that fiber network infrastructure to serve the school, we actually end up getting maybe a hospital that requires connectivity. And this hospital is in a commercial venture, in which case they can then also enjoy the same infrastructure or the same connectivity and pay for it. We will have a county government that is probably wanting some sort of connectivity, and they in turn will ask us to extend the same to them, and in turn also make a payment for us. I will share with you that Kenya, so we have a lot of public services on the digital platform in Kenya. So we are currently having about, I think, 2 months for us to submit our tax returns. And this is something that we do digitally or we do it online. We have a lot of people who are in areas where for them to even get this connectivity so that they can submit their tax returns, make sure that they can enjoy the public service or the government services that are on digital platforms is a challenge. But when we end up extending these services to schools, we in turn end up getting to some sort of market centers where we have business, small and micro enterprises that see then an opportunity for them to have what you will probably call an internet hub or an internet site where the community can then come and interact and enjoy this sort of government services. So it is about it is about first that belief that really there is a need for us to invest in this, but then next as well is to make sure that we can sink our money into what we believe in. And last but not least, asking ourselves, what more can we do so that these investments are not in vain? But of course, it starts with our own shareholders. And in this case, when we talk about Cassava Technologies, our own group chairman, Strive Masiwa, really is someone who celebrated globally. But, he had a purpose, he had a vision for this organization. And beyond just having a purpose and a vision for it, he put his own investments into it. Considering what he's been able to do across the entire African continent, it has done the best in terms of attracting additional investors who see the exciting impact we are having in the market. And they also want to make sure that they can then also support this very venture that we are doing. So yes, there's been the investment that we are putting in our own selves, but of course we also have other stakeholders or financiers. You talk data centers, DFC or and IFC have been strong supporters of our Africa data center projects across the entire African continent. But yes, building this kind of infrastructure costs a lot. Absolutely. But I think it's about the desire to make sure that we go over and beyond what exactly are we putting on the ground to what can we make out of it while impacting lives, while growing businesses, while creating jobs for Africans, while making sure that Africa is also seen as an exciting place to offer technological services.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, you can't run away from the question of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Many believe that artificial intelligence is obviously the next cycle in technological evolution, if I could call it that. How is your company positioning itself to not only facilitate, but be an enabler because it is believed that, artificial intelligence will resolve many of the challenges across the globe, but then specifically for Africa, how is your company positioning itself?
You're right that right now, again, it could be cliche, it could be the current buzzword. Everyone is talking AI. The very first thing that our organization has done is to make sure that, as we have it as a buzzword out there, that AI is the next thing. It's the next big thing, or it's actually the big thing right now. I always tell guys that anytime I see conversations around digital transformation, people actually have some sort of feel that this is going to happen in future, but no, it's something that happens presently. It's only that you need to you probably need to dig up so that you identify where exactly is it actually impacting or disrupting lives today. But most importantly, we need to make sure that we're asking ourselves, how do we future proof ourselves against what it's going to do tomorrow? As cassava technologies, as Africa data centers, every organization across our cassava technologies group, when we talk AI, the very first thing we've had to do is to take a step back and ask everyone in the organization to ask themselves, what exactly is AI? And we do that for a reason, because it starts with everyone grasping the concepts behind AI, answering the question why. To answer the question why, it starts with understanding the concept before we can then answer the question why. So what we are doing as Africa Data Centers, as all the organizations within Cassava Technologies, is first and foremost to offer an opportunity to make sure that people have access to information, access to knowledge on matters AI. And the next thing is then asking ourselves, how do we translate this new technology into something that is going to address a need in Africa? So we are not just leaving it at understanding the technology. We are more focused on asking ourselves, how exactly are we going to use this to address the needs of Africans? And the needs of Africans could be, making sure that we are addressing our traditional challenges on food security. Our traditional challenges in terms of, natural, making sure that our natural resources are used well and we are protecting them against any kind of devastation. Making sure that we are using AI, to create jobs. Making sure that we are using AI to be more efficient within the organizations that we work for. It's basically an understanding of, what do we want to do with this particular technology? So we are challenging not only our own employees, including myself. No, we are also doing this in partnerships with high institutions of learning. We are also doing this by way of having some sort of academic programs or initiatives that sort of create room for those that have an idea on how exactly can AI be translated into a solution, into an innovation that meets a need in Africa. And how do we make sure that we also future-proofing ourselves on what we feel is going to be an outcome of the disruptions of artificial intelligence? So I will say that's where we are at right now, but we believe that is the right thing, making sure that we take a proactive approach. And when we take a proactive approach at not only understanding these technological concepts and translating them into needs or solutions, we also want to make sure that we can future-proof ourselves against them disrupting what we do. And that's what we do, really. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So just as a final question, Novacom obviously provides a very unique networking experience. How important will partnerships for your company be going forward?
Partnerships are not only going to be important to us going forward, and what Novacom is doing really fits into something that we believe in. We believe that people do business with people that they know, with people that they trust, with people that they have a clear understanding of in terms of their ways of doing things. So Novacom provides us a very good opportunity to meet our customers. So this is something that, while we always do it by way of engaging our customers every other time, what Novacom has done in terms of giving us an opportunity to bring select executives and give us a chance to have a one-on-one conversation with them, gives us an opportunity to hear from them firsthand. What is their experience in terms of our services? where will they want us to probably help them in terms of the challenges that they also face. And then last but not least, also, we also get to know what are their future plans. And whatever we do, we want to make sure that we are doing it with with the voice of the customer really at the center of everything that we do. And that's what Novacom addresses to us. And this is something that really is a natural to us. And we will only be happy to join Novacom next time again, because that's a good thing.
Absolutely. That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Danny. And we'll look forward to engaging with you during the course of the 2-day event.
Thanks a lot. It was a great conversation having this financial insights discussion. And thanks a lot, everyone. Cheers.
All right. There you have it. Tune in for more interviews from Novacom. This has been Mwelwa Sekunda.